Oh. You're all the way down here with me.
Come on in. All right, we can start now. We'll see your
Yeah. Okay, everybody, the moment you've been waiting for. Well, maybe you're waiting for the meeting to end, but we have to start it before we can end it. So we're gonna go ahead and get it started. It is 7:02. We'll go ahead and rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Flags over here to my right, your left. I pledge allegiance.
Great job. I heard kid voices. You did awesome.
Hey, Christie, roll call, please. Here. Here.
Mrs. Brady here. Mr. Rajamani.
Here.
Mr. Ryan.
Here.
Mrs. Browski.
Here. Mr. Galena will join us later this evening.
Okay. Everybody had a chance to review the agenda? Yep. And no changes to the agenda, so I'd be looking for motion to approve the agenda as submitted. I'll make a motion. Got a motion by Roger and a second by Jen. Okay, I couldn't determine who was who over there. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. Motion carries. Next, I'd be looking for an approval of the minutes from the May 22nd, 2025 Board of Education meeting. Got a motion by Ken.
I'll second.
A second by Roger. And let's see, Joe, you didn't make the whole meeting, so you probably abstain when we get to that. So all in favor? Opposed? None. And then one abstention, Joe. Motion passes.
I think we skipped the next part. Don't you?
Student recognition.
Yeah. I mean, there's a
Yeah,
lot of recognition.
We meant to move that
To the very end.
and all the recognitions to the very end,
Shoot.
because it's gonna get nice and warm in here
Yes.
with all these people,
And it's cold
so,
outside.
yeah. Nobody wants to be outside while it's
No, We'll
raining.
just hang out here. So
Yeah,
you already approved the agenda, so we should probably do it.
okay.
All right. We have lots of things to celebrate this evening. First and foremost, and as always, let's celebrate our students. Mr. Peters, can you help us learn a little bit about the Lotus students who are here this evening?
Sure. So tonight I'm going to recognize 3 students, but I'm going to call up 2 students to start off with. If I can have Leo and Mila come on over here. We'll recognize Mila and Leo tonight. Every year we have the IPA, the Illinois Principal Association, and they do a recognition breakfast for all the schools in Lake County, and each school at their highest grade level, which is 4th grade here, obviously, we get to recognize 2 students. So I meet with the 4th grade teachers, we all collaborate and choose 2 students, and these 2 students, Leo and Mila, were the chosen winners to represent Lotus this year. And we had a really nice breakfast last month at the barn. It's Woods, I think it's called, in London Line. So really nice. So they got a full breakfast, and I wanted to recognize them tonight at the board meeting so they could get some really cool yard signs.
Yeah. Yard
So
sign.
I would like to read a few notes from the teachers. We'll start with Mila Menhars here. Her teacher said, "It's a pleasure to have her in class. She's responsible, respectful, and consistently puts forth her best effort. Even when things get tough, she maintains a positive attitude and a genuine enthusiasm for learning. What really sets her apart is her character. She's a role model in every sense of the word, always kind, accepting of everyone, and willing to help anyone in need. She's formed strong, positive relationships with her classmates and truly brings out the best in those around her. Mila is a well-rounded student and enjoyed a happy class. Teacher, he brings such a positive energy to our school each and every day with a big smile and an eagerness to learn, as you can see. He creates a welcoming and uplifting environment for everyone around him. He's kind, respectful, and leads by example, whether that's through helping a classmate, encouraging a peer, or going the extra mile on a class project. His strong work ethic and character stand out, and I have no doubt he'll do great things at Stanton next year. Leo makes our school a better place, and I'm honored to recognize him.
Oh, not just everybody gets these.
Good job.
I'd like to recognize tonight, I don't think she's here, I don't think she's online, but I'm going to talk about her anyways. Her name is Carson Stagel, and she started school with us this year in August, and she came to us with not too much reading background, just knowing her letter sounds, we've been playing letters, and and so I had the pleasure of being her reading mentor this year. And I would say that I joined her in about February. And when I first started reading with her, she was very discouraged, wasn't a big fan of reading. And so that was a challenge that we had to get over a hurdle. And I'll tell you, she had, if it takes a village to get somebody, it's the boss or teacher, the interventionist, and the road that I saw since February until today. I read with her, I watch her use all of her strategies. I don't even have to tell her anything. I'm just her cheerleader on the sidelines, way to use those strategies. And you just got to see this. It's unbelievable because now when I go pick her up from class, I step in and it's room. She's already done. Let's go, Mr. Peters. Come on, let's go read. And she's just so excited. She shows me the books that she has. She's even asking me, "Are you paying attention? Look at this." And then she covers it up and tries to let me guess what she's reading about and like predictions. And it's just, I mean, just the joy she has for reading and the transformation over the last 4 months has just been, and I mean, you can teach her the strategies, but she's got to put in the work as well. And you just see that she does and she challenges herself. So I wanted to recognize her.
Awesome.
Just
Great. All right. Mr. Supsick, we've got some Stanton students this evening.
And I actually am going to introduce Mr. Bailey. He's going to represent us as a coach and a teacher tonight. So, Mr. Bailey.
Hi, thank you for having me. I am a sport play teacher at Stanton. I teach STEM, or it's now called PLTW. So I'll be doing the exploratory the 3 students we nominated, and then I'll move over to our track athletes who made it down to state. So I just have a little slide presentation here to help us all.
Absolutely.
So I'll be saying it first, and then Victoria will be translating it into Spanish. Thank you. So the first one we want to recognize is 5th grader, Kayla Reyes. Kayla is always helpful, kind, and hardworking. She is a positive role model for others and always moves out of her way to help out. Both in art and PLTW, Kayla displayed her thoughtfulness by volunteering to clean and organize daily. Especially in art, she would put away the brushes, clean, put the paint away. She was getting up there. She's always dedicated to completing all her work in her exploratory classes while collaborating with her classmates. She's just a great student for us in all 3 of her classes.
Kayla Reyes, Kayla siempre es servicial, amable, trabajadora. Ella es una modelo positivo para los demás y siempre hace todo lo posible para ayudar a los estudiantes.
We have sixth grader, Leah Salinas. Leah has been with us, she's with me in fifth grade. I had the pleasure of having her. And Leah has been a source of positive attitude and hard work for each year she's been at Stanton. She always can be found doing the right thing, helping classmates or bringing our practice to improve. Her positive attitude we see while representing the Foxes in basketball, track, and in the classroom. Leah is leading the way, and she's been a really great kid for all of us. Next, seventh grader, who I also had the pleasure of having in fifth grade, Cadence Campbell. Cadence, we are really excited to celebrate you. You are an amazing seventh grader who has shown us what true leadership looks like. She is an exceptionally hardworking worker who never backs down from a challenge and always gives 100%. Cadence is one of the kindest people that we meet. She's quick to help others and does it with a smile. Her positive energy makes our school a better place, and she inspires those around her by just being herself. Cadence proves that being a leader isn't about being the loudest. It's about lifting others up, staying positive, and always doing your best, even when no one's watching. Cadence, thank you. Okay.
What happened last weekend, Mr. Bailey?
Well, the Foxes went down to East Peoria, which is where they have the IESA state finals. Layla Santos competed on discus on Friday, and Aurora Sampson competed on Saturday. So,
Let's hear about it.
oh,
Great job.
all right, here's it.
Layla. Yeah.
All right, Layla represented the seventh grade Stanton Foxes at the 2025 ISA State Finals in East Peoria by finished first in her sectionals.
Oh.
She
Wow.
represented the seventh grade women's throwers by throwing a personal best 67 feet and 11 inches. Layla has been on track team for sixth grade and has been improving each and every year. Her success starts with never missing a practice, and her enthusiasm. She's one of the first to come in practice. She's one of the last to leave. She's always cleaning up, helping the others make sure they get their discs back out of the field as far as. So can't wait to see Layla what you do next year. Because I think the sky's the limit. Congratulations. And we have an eighth grader, Aurora Samson.
She's here. Yeah, right. I feel like you've been here before. Yeah.
Layla, how many times have you represented Stanton?
Three times.
Yeah, three. Aurora is a standout athlete for the Stanton Foxes. One gold in the eighth grade girls high jump at sectionals.
Yeah.
Third straight year representing the Foxes at the IESA state finals in Peoria. She has improved every season. Her highest jump ever at 4 feet 9.75 inches, which she did earlier this year. I think she's invitational. Aurora Laura's hard work and dedication set the tone for the team. She even showed up extra morning practices to push herself further. With so much talent and drive, there's no doubt she has a bright future ahead. We can't wait to see what you do at Grand. Nice job, Laura.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Bailey. Great
Thank
job.
Thank you.
Any other students? Anybody we missed for this evening? That's all is on my list of the meetings. All right, let's shift gears then, because we wouldn't have students here if we didn't have amazing families. And we have members of our PTA executive board who I would like to recognize on behalf of the district. So if I could invite Crystal and Sylvia and Caitlin and Jessica and Amber to come on up, I would sure appreciate it. So I think you guys get about to put your board members. For all the students I can do, which is you give blood, sweat, heart, tears, time, energy, Google Meets, Saturdays, Sundays, holidays to make things happen for our kids, for our staff, for our communities. The pleasure to work with you over the course of the last year has just been truly amazing. And everything you've done and will continue to do impacts this district now, today, and helps this year. So I'm going to just say that thank you, not just for day of service, but for all the things, and even, and especially the things that nobody even knows that they do because they just get done. To make this even more impressive to make some kids who did that. And everybody in this room, and everybody not in this room, and it's great. So I'm thank you so very much. Want to be fast? I know this referencing thank you is not, but a little bit to y'all too. For all the TLC, thoughts. And I'll make sure that's a big service. You swear fearless presence. Willing to jump on me. 9:30 p.m. Can somebody make a hierarchy? Can somebody make a graphic? She already did it. Amazing. Thank you so very much. Sign yourself. Bye there, raise your ladies. All right, we have to recognize tonight, and it's one that I don't really want to do.
We can table it for
Could
next
we?
month. Yeah.
Because I think they really want to come back in June.
Yeah.
Maybe July,
That'd be better.
maybe just August. How about it? How about it? Typically in this 114, we have a couple of retirees in a given year. Something must have been in the water. Not that way. Because this year we have 9 people who are heading for half your, if you can have half your trails, then 114, they're heading for it. So give me just a second to switch out some technology, and then we're going to talk about some amazing colleagues who, well, we wouldn't be who we are without them. So this because we'd like to say congratulations on your retirement. So I'm going to keep it short and sweet today because one of the things that will happen tomorrow at our early release is each of the buildings has its own celebration plan to celebrate everybody who's being recognized for their service this year, including our retirees. So I'm going to keep it short and sweet tonight just because I know that they're going to get tons of TLC tomorrow as well. And most of them get really uncomfortable being called up. I already had one say, "What are you doing to me tonight?" Nice. And actually it is. It's fine. So usually something like I think this time, let's go by years, shall we? Kimberly Jacob Legal has been with us and 114 family for 5 amazing years, working with all of our kids, but particularly those who are learning English as an additional language. I know you have a rich history in education, but you hit it out of the park here for the last 5 years. So thank you, Hana. Yes, you will. Thank you. Very tender.
Well,
Come on. One of the things I learned really quickly is I needed somebody who was far better than me at finances, budgets, audits, and all those things. Because I have a lot of trouble, but that's not my jam. I found this one and was lucky enough to be able to share her with Grass Lake the last 7 years. Not only is she super smart, super savvy, you're a great human being, and it's been an absolute pleasure to get to work with you. I really thank you for everything. Okay. Paula. Paula Paxton. So, you know, when you come to a school and you get the vibe of the school is going to be set into it because the friendly faces who greet you first. That's always Sue and Paula. She knows everything about our kids and families, inside out stuff. You don't know, she's already got to be like, oh no, he doesn't like goldfish. It's her applesauce, only applesauce, and it has to be room temperature. When the office is a busy place, Paula's office opens as a spot for a kid who just needs a moment to calm down, right there beside her. While she answers the phone, puts stuff in Skyward, and figures out how to handle everything out there. In addition to that, she is an amazing mama, a devoted grandma who gives her blood, sweat, and tears for her family, and an absolute gift to everyone who gets to meet her. We miss her terribly huge shoes to fill. Cheryl Carroll has been a bus driver with us for 12 years. Can you imagine driving 1,000 kids in every day? Every day. Yeah, that's why she's not here. She's sad. She couldn't be here this evening, but I wanted to make sure to recognize her. We'll make sure she gets her award. Cheryl's just been fabulous. The kids love her. Calm, cute, cool as a cucumber no matter what. And that, I think, is a pretty amazing thing. So with that, let's hear it for Cheryl. Zeros and ones in the 10th place. Now, let's move to the 2s in the 10th place. Jeff Sepsing, 20 years. If anybody were to ask, who's a person that is Fox Lake? Who's a person that is 114 Heart, Spirit, and Soul Society? From shoving cherry pies in his face because that's what's happening in the community, to going out to the wall, being taped to the wall, singing as Elsa, smelling right in the face, to doing things you have no idea behind the scenes to help our kids have access, to live Mr. Lomas's legacy of why not Fox Lake kids, why not? Made a difference in more ways than any of us will ever know. And we wish you absolute happiest of retirements and a beautiful time at Florida. Healthy, well, and happy. setting, and like, Chrissy, did you pick up the cake today? And somebody you talked to picked up the cake, and Jules like, wait, Miss Brown? I don't know Miss Brown. You are one of the first people in the and we were trying to solve a problem together. And her patience and care is way you can to show me grace when I was trying to do things has never stopped as I see kids, teachers, and families just over and care and know so much. Because if the student is successful, you know that you're not. So see you smile, they smile, it's also. Thank you. My bad. Come on down. Face flat. So this is Betty. So if you don't know, Betty has impacted Fox Lake in lots and lots of different ways. For example, do you know that the Lewis playground wouldn't be there had it not been Betty and the PTA at that time's efforts to get Lewis playground? Something we didn't happen here. Do you know that she creatively have you ever tried to get a middle schooler to create? She does it. She does it. She has a book club at lunch, and some of our most reluctant readers can't wait to go see Miss Flat at lunch. Because you make reading fun and you make it connected in person. You make such a difference for kids in that library outfit. You are absolutely right to see it. Good. See? Oh, shucks. You can look in the dictionary for a definition with a picture of work ethic. Anything that needs to be done will get shot, children. You can smile. The children have 6 people saying, oh, come on, we're doing this together. She wrote me a positive officer this year because I stumbled upon her doing what she does every day in every way. In this case, it was reading the student, and the way she was coaching him up, the smile, like the space had to hurt. His ears were about to pop off. The smile was so big, and she noticed that my smile apparently was just as big as seeing this little guy me, that she wrote me up. Oh, like it's good. She sees that. She takes the time to see the magic that happens, and more than that, she's got the magic wand making stuff. Cheryl's been here 33 years. Every single day, whether it's on the bus, in the classroom, hall, playground, doing a million things we don't even know that she does. This lady makes magic. She already told me she's back, so I'm thinking that she's here, right? I'll see you later. Go. I play a drum roll. Liz Anderson has been teaching in this district, working in this district for 35 years. We're like pirates. So what I know about Liz, calm and cool. You go in her classroom, calm and cool. Kids know what's expected, they know that they're loved, they know that they're gonna learn, and they know if they're having a hard day, she's gonna help them through it. Which is so important for any student, but imagine being a seventh grader, being 13 today, and trying to navigate the world that they're in, and knowing that a compass work is there for you every single day, stay calm, cool, collected, work with your team, and lead the church. Absolute grace, absolute presence, absolute awesome. Thank you for your time. So with that, I need a hot second to get my act together. I think everybody needs and deserves a treat, so let's take about 10 minutes or so to just celebrate each other, to be together as a community, celebrate our staff, celebrate our parents, celebrate our kids, our grandparents, everybody that's here. We wouldn't be the district we are without the energy that comes from the people who bring yourselves here. For that, I am endlessly grateful. So let's take a little bit of time. You can take pictures. We've got chickens. We've got Sarah Botniak baked. There's one thing not, one thing not. I know I've missed your cooking over the years. Sarah's been off the board. I just those cookies are hamburgers. So it's great to see her face. So come on down. Let's have a little fun together, and we'll call the meeting back to order in a minute. Thank you.
Okay, the kids that have to suffer through detention, looks like they're all present. The rest of the class got to go home. Okay. We are at item number 8, audience comments.
Friends?
Anybody online? Throw it out. All right, going once, going twice. All right, moving on. Consent agenda, which represents accounts payable in the amount of $740,109.99, and the treasurer's report for April 2025. Do we have any questions or comments on that? Hearing none, I'd be looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda as submitted.
I make a motion.
Got a motion by Roger and a second by Ken. Please pull the board.
Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Bryant,
Yes.
Mrs. O'Grady. Yes. Mr. Bonjamini,
Yes.
Rayowski,
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes, motion passes.
Please.
Next, we have administrative
All
reports.
right, and I am absolutely proud, as the day is long, to welcome Chief Dawn Serby to our board meeting this evening. Absolute fierce advocate for Fox Lake and all the things that happen here. We got to do a little work in the parking lot, so thank you. But this evening, she's here to talk to us about the Protect Lake County effort. I've talked with you a couple of times about this. We wanted you to come and just kind of explain big picture, how this came to be, what you would be asking for from the board's perspective, and why you think this would be a good thing for District 114.
So I gave you guys 2 pages there. That's kind of the basics of what the program is. It kind of just strips it down to what the goal is and what it does and doesn't do. It kind of started as an initiative out of a couple different universities. They connected with police in Lake County. I don't really know why Lake County became the focus of the first one to stand this up, but that's fine. They received a Homeland Security grant to do this, so it's free to everybody that's in it. No money commitments for anything. But it's a multidisciplinary team. It brings in police, medical, psychologists, psychiatrists, the state's attorney's office is involved. All the public assistance programs are involved, DCFS. So it kind of goes across the board with any type of public assistance per se that you can think of. So the goal of it is to hopefully stop some sort of active violence that's building, to catch those little subtle warning signs that usually what happens is you get a little warning sign here that by itself, it really means nothing. And you get a warning sign over here by itself, it means nothing. And there's not a lot over here. But we don't really have the means to connect all this together. So it's trying to fill that hole of bringing all these little warning signs together so someone could go, hey, there's some sort of pattern building, and what can we do to try to push this very person back on the right track rather than the track that we see them going down. That's the ultimate goal of it. Push somebody back on that right track and stop whatever path they got focused on. We, as the Village of Fox Lake, have signed on with our MOUs for a partner. The high school signed on with the MOU already. So basically, all of Fox Lake will become partners if this is the step that you guys want to take. I don't know what the number is for Lake County now that they're up to. Last month, they finally got everything up and running. They've been hearing some cases. So how it works is by you signing up with your own MOU, you put the record to it. You don't have to piggyback through someone. So that allows you, when it's not necessarily a law enforcement event, to connect with the team anyways. So law enforcement were, for lack of a better word, we're a little bit handcuffed because we can only legally operate down the criminal line. And we can all stand here as citizens and go, this isn't right. But as an officer, I go, if there's no crime committed, I can't do it. If I try to do something, I put the whole village in risk of lawsuits as well as personally lawsuits for stepping outside the boundaries. So we put all these groups together to where they can act in all their different entities, and we talk about it as a group, and we say, this is what I can offer, this is what I can offer, this is what I can offer. So you bring a case to the team, and the team is a resource hub where they go, okay, we think these resources will help in this situation. And you may have already tried a bunch, and at some point you may have tried all, but we're making sure we've tried all of them by tapping into this team. Some of the resources they'll bring forward are financial, but they also bring forward options to assist with that finance burden. Most of the time it's going to require the family cooperation within it, because obviously we need that help of the family supporting that person and encouraging them to go down that right line. And if it's a juvenile, the parents sometimes forcing them down that line, because they have to make that decision for that juvenile. And the team will give you recommendations. They can connect you with the psychologist, psychiatrist, therapy. They're attached to the VA as well. And they can follow the case as well. You can kind of reconnect with them. The other aspect of it is by being a full county entity, we reach out for a kid. They may not live in my jurisdiction. They may live in Antioch's jurisdiction, but Antioch police had contact as well. Antioch reaches out. So now this team can start connecting those contacts from all the different areas and get the entire picture hopefully before we're looking at it on the tail. So I know I babbled a lot, but that's really
No,
what
that
it
was
is.
great information. Because until now, we haven't been able to do that.
Correct. Right now, it's been, what do you know, and we start individually calling rather than it's all at the table at once.
So how many meetings a month does this group have, or is it as cases come up, everybody checks calendars?
Correct, it's when cases come up. So there are people dedicated into the team. So as a police department, we could choose to dedicate an officer in there. We're not ready for that yet. And actually, there are so many police departments that have already dedicated, they're going to want to come law enforcement. And so there's so many in there because they want it from each group. But there's not scheduled meetings. It's when one of the partners that has the MOU with them calls, you call and say, I have a case I want to present. They're then going to prioritize that case. Is this the fast acting immediate? And then they'll spin up the team and say, okay, they'll send a Zoom link. We can have a meeting, within the day or whatever the time frame is. If it's something that's not priority, if it's kind of been simmering, nothing really actively going on, it could be a week before they spin up that meeting. So it's kind of all based on what you're calling for.
It's not just student age, it could be your
It can be correct. So you guys are connecting mainly for your staff and your students, because that's really where your contact and information is going to be coming from. Law enforcement wise, it's going to be any community contacts that we deal with. So
How long do you hold the information on a case, for example, as a person?
how long do we what?
Hold the information. So a student, for example, that's 12.
Right.
How long do you hold the information?
So law enforcement is mandated by different statutes on how long we have to maintain, depending on age, what the case is, and what the disposition of the case is. So there are a bunch of different elements that go into figuring out if we have to get rid of it or if we have to keep it. So there's no one standard. I don't know what the schools is offhand, but what's good for this with the school is you choose what you want to present to this team. You don't want to give them any documents whatsoever. You don't have to. It can all be verbal communication, but they have nothing. If you want to provide documents, that's fine. You can do that. So it's 100% your choice what you present to them.
Chief, this makes me think of a case we were at the table talking about not long ago. Kind of a complicated situation where it ended up being you and me and staff from Stanton and staff from Lotus, just because things were kind of tentacling out. And if I remember, the only agency we could contact by the end of the call told us good luck. So something like this would be a better answer than good luck when you're trying to work.
That's the whole, and I mean, the reality of it is, they may not have another option either.
Yep.
But they might, and you never know until you contact that and say, is there something else you have that we don't have? It's, long story short, it's a resource hub.
That's more than a lot more than we have access to right now. Other questions?
I have one question. Is there any feedback from the people who have implemented it so far?
I don't know who has presented cases, and they're not gonna come back and tell us that. It's gonna stay with that team. I do know that they have had a couple cases presented already. It's brand new. It's brand new. It just got off the ground probably mid-April. Finally, everything was solidified.
Okay.
So, we're all in new territory. I'm not even sure if this has been stood up in another state yet, but we're definitely leading the charge.
Okay. So in your packet, you see that there are two documents for review. One is the MOU that the chief referred to, and then there's a resolution saying that the board can sign the MOU. So these are the standard documents that anyone considering this effort is being asked to take a look at. So the specific request would be to approve the resolution to then sign the MOU, okay?
With that, looking for a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Yeah, the motion by Joe and a second by Jen. Please poll the board.
Mr. Bongiorno?
Yes.
Mrs. McCready? Yes. Mr. Bryan?
Yes.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Grabowski?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes.
I can happily report we're in. Thanks, chief.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda is the staffing plan. Two updates to the plan. If you had a chance to look at it at the front in the memo, there are two proposals. I want to spend just a couple seconds on these. So not huge substantive plan, changes, and there are a couple items I'd like to discuss in closed session under confidential matters. But for public conversation, two shifts that I would ask for board approval on. One is, as you know, historically, at least in my 8 years here, continued staffing of our special education programs has been a challenge. One of the things we've been very committed to is finding creative ways to keep our kids here as much as we can in our programming in our classrooms. To that end, one of the things that we did to try and recruit and retain was to partner with the ELC to hire teachers when we needed self-contained programming. I would say that that's been, excuse me, mostly successful. What is becoming even more and more, I don't even want to call it a challenge because it's an opportunity, but more complex is the nature of the needs of the kids who are coming into our early childhood program and now going into kindergarten. So for example, were you to walk down the halls of Lotus right now, you would see a good number of kids using walkers. Lots more kids using assistive technology devices, kids in strollers accessing classrooms, kids who are learning to walk in their classrooms by just kind of, if you remember when your kids, if you have them, are little kind of shuffling around the furniture. That's what learning is looking like for even more of our students right now, which is awesome because this is a place that wants to make sure that they grow and learn and we celebrate them. For growth just looks a little bit different now. We also
have had a difficult time across the system recruiting and retaining special education teachers. You see them annually on the report. So in lots of talks and lots of thinking about for both of those needs, but particularly this compelling need at this point, given the needs of our students. And that's really what special education programming always is who are your students and what do they need? Well, our students now need a life skills program because we have a cohort of about 9 students now who have the complexity of learning that they need one-on-one station-based instruction. One of those stations, for example, needs to be a bathroom to learn how to care for themselves. So that's a huge shift to be able to meet the needs of our students. So the proposal is to take what has been the Lotus instructional coach position, because we continue to see such incredible growth in academics and all things at Lotus, particularly as a result of the shifts in the math program that was piloted this year, to reallocate that FTE to a position called an instructional specialist, whose focus will be on supporting, getting in, helping with instruction, helping with assessment, helping with setup for our special educators to hopefully give them the support that they need to grow these programs, feel successful in the programs, have our kids make even more growth, and for those teachers to stick around. So that's a proposed shift. Something that has been, was in the last version of the strategic plan was for us to consider band. So as you probably know, current band programming looks like a pay to play. We contract with an outside agency, and students and families who are able and interested can participate in the band program. We have scholarshiped some students who have shown an interest. Our current total 4th grade through 8th grade band participation right now is 11 students. I know that Grant continues to work really, really hard to grow its band program. You can imagine how difficult it is for Grant to do that when one of its feeder districts is sending 0 8th grade participants in as freshmen. Now imagine being a freshman in high school and thinking, everybody here has been playing an instrument. I think I'll pick one up when everybody's been playing it. I'm going to try for the first time. That's a brave freshman to do that. So one of the things that we have always been committed to as a board is making sure that our kids have opportunities. And I believe that this is the time to bring band back to 114. So the proposal is consideration of a hire of a full-time band teacher for Stanton. That position would be part of the exploratory team, and a student who wants to participate in band would then exempt from the exploratory rotation and be in band every single day to become proficient at their craft. We have a partnership with the current vendor who will help coordinate the purchase of books and instrument rental. We have the Sales Foundation, who I'm meeting with tomorrow on the details, but who has already verbally committed to offset the cost of those instrument rentals for anyone who needs assistance, so that any student in our system who wants to be in a band can do so. So those would be reallocations of staff. You see it reflected here, but I wanted to make sure that we talked about those specifically because they're pretty significant shifts, adds, or differences. Are there any questions I could answer about those 2 proposals?
Band teacher, how many students would they be able to take on in a day?
Well, if what happens according to the schedule would be each of the grade levels has their own exploratory block. So there would be a 5th grade band time. So any 5th grader who wanted to participate, when you think about the total grade level enrollment and the likelihood of how many students would actually want to participate in band, it would be very doable for them to have that. If that was not the case and we had far more, then the great thing is we have a full-time person. So we would have to be flexible in how that works. I am fully expecting that this will start very small and grow. I may be surprised. So then a student wouldn't take, say, art or? Correct. They'd have to exempt from something. Yeah. But that's what it would be. And so a student could be in band and come out because they don't like it. I think it would be very difficult to not be in band and try and jump in. But if somebody was really passionate about it, I think with groups as small as we'll have and a full-time teacher, there would be no reason it can't happen. We have space at Stanton for the? We'll find it. Typically, it's been on the stage. Okay. Any other questions? No? Okay. And I'd be looking for an approval on that because these are changes in personnel.
And that's personnel report,
This
just
one. Yep.
so. So that's item 10B. There are no other questions on the staffing plan. We'd be looking for a motion to approve the revised plan and just discussed. Not the personnel report yet.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
So we got a motion by Roger and it was Ken, second by Ken. Please pull the board.
Mr. Smith?
Yes. Yes.
Mrs. Severino?
Yes.
Mr. Valentino?
Yes.
Mrs. Reyes?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes. Okay, motion passes.
Thank you. So the reason we did that first is you can now see those positions reflected in the personnel report. So I want to put that forward without board approval. There are a couple things I would like to hit on here this evening because we got some people in the room. Not in the Zoom, no. So it is with regret that I ask this board to consider the resignations and the retirements that you see here. One in particular is Amber Mislowick, who is going to be spreading her wings.
No.
No, you can always say no. That's why we bring it to the board. Unfortunately, I think she's already accepted, so. So she's going to spread her wings and share her talents as a coach for Explore teachers, which is a really cool thing. It's a very innovative position, and I can think of no more innovative educator who will absolutely kick butt in the role. So that's what I want to talk about this evening. Erica Barraza is in the house. I am pleased to announce that it is our recommendation that Erica Barraza be named as the new associate principal at Lotus School. Erica is a self-proclaimed lifer. It's her word. In District 114, and I am absolutely thrilled that she finished her type 75 in time to get into this role, just in the nick of time. And Chad, welcome, Chad Diarco is going to be our other. So Chad was a teacher in Big Hollow, knew better, spread his wings and got some experience in Palatine 15, and now we've got him away and he's going to be our AP. So welcome, Chad. With that, I would be asking for the board to consider and approve the changes that are documented in this personnel report.
With the change of removing Amber resignation.
Other than that,
Well, it's separate.
all but that. There's a second. You can't do that, but okay, it's in the notes.
Well, I guess we have to.
Yes, we have to.
Go ahead, somebody.
I'll make the motion.
Got a motion by Roger. And dies for lack of a second. That was
Congratulations.
the second by Ken. Please pull the board.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Bryan?
Yes.
Mr. Bonjour?
Yes.
Mr. Rayowski? Borowski?
Yeah.
Mr. Brady?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Did you see her face? Did you see that? You have the stink eye, Mr. Peter.
She's still gotta make it.
All right, next on the agenda, it is now part of school code that we have to document board approval of our parent-student handbook. So as you have in front of you is the document that's linked in our registration materials, the 25-26 parent-student handbook. So I don't know if you had an opportunity to look through it. It is a riveting read, but actually is really important to make sure we have up-to-date current with all codes, just in case we need it. It's a great guidebook for all of us to know how to operate. Were there any questions on the handbook?
we get a checklist on that thing to make sure everything's in there? Good. Okay, if there are no questions, I'll be looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Roger, second by Jen. Please poll the board.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Brady?
Yes.
Mr. Bryant?
Yes.
Mrs. Browski?
Yes.
Mr. Borowski?
Yes.
Mr. Bonjero?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes.
So I apologize for bringing another one to you quickly, but this is one coming at us quickly and it's pretty awesome. So I've given you little nuggets about this along the way, but basically across not only Lake County, but the state and the nation, we continue to recognize the fact that it's hard to find teachers. So one of the things that's happening here in Lake County and the regional office in particular has launched this Lake County Educator Expansion Program. So if you had a chance to look at the memo I gave you, it's basically working with a company who has already put this place in other states to partner to fund education for sitting employees, or I guess standing employees, to partner with us, with the regional office, to secure advanced degrees. There are 3 different combinations that could be considered. One is having an associate's degree and taking coursework in partnership to get a bachelor's of teaching. So you get your PEL, or your professional educator's license. One model is having no degree and using the partnership, and obviously funding is different for this one, to get to the BA for your PEL. And then one that's especially relevant for us and some of our staff, we've been working on this since before, for like 5 years, trying to find a way for people with a bachelor's degree, not in education, to get that MAT, which allows you to teach and get your PEL. So the partnership, as you can see, and I showed you a screenshot from the presentation, is different kinds of combinations of funding, including a candidate contribution with the discount from Bloom Board, who is kind of our point person who's in partnership with the different universities, and then with district support to work in partnership with employees to help them further their education. With that, then, there would be expectations for continued employment. With that, there would be an application process to ensure that anybody who's interested is aware of and fully committed to such an offering, because it's a big commitment on behalf of the employee, the district, and potentially, and I gave you both funding scenarios because we have no idea what's going to happen with the expansion grant itself. So on the left of each diagram, you could see what it would look like with no grant. And then if we were to get grant funding, what that would offset to bring down the cost. So the employee contribution is always a constant. The district contribution would shift then based on whether we get the grant or not, and we being defined as the regional office, Lake County. So the proposal would be, and I know it's a little vague right now, but if you see how I gave you important dates, we're still waiting to hear about the grant. We already surveyed our candidates to see who was interested, and we had 7 employees with initial interest. Info sessions are happening right now, but by June 10th, we have to be able to select candidates, which means at this board meeting, we needed to decide if this was something we wanted to pursue or not. I can tell you already having that many people interested would tell me that this is something people definitely would want to do. I've had 2 employees today speak to me and say, oh my God, this is incredible. This is exactly what we've been waiting for. So specifically, the proposal that I would bring forward is that we start small and consider for next school year, joining in this effort, allocating up to but not exceeding $15,000 from the district side of the contribution to have people start the program, whether that's the associates to bachelor's, the 0 to bachelor's, or what I would anticipate happening probably first is the MAT to have the PEL and be able to teach because people already have the bachelor's degree. So pending board approval, if this is something we wanted to pursue, we would create an application process. I already have a draft sample of that, of what it could look like. Mary and Natalie and I, again, pending approval, would be going through that tomorrow morning to shore it up. And then a contract for participation, which actually is an MOU between us and the employee, defining what happens if, for example, you start and don't finish. What happens if you finish, but then bail?
So for example, for coursework reimbursement, which is our current practice, which is people take classes and we reimburse after, if they leave within 2 years, they pay it back. So what would that look like if we're paying on the front end instead of reimbursing after? Would be comparable in nature. I do also want to point out that anyone who would participate in this program would not be eligible for additional coursework reimbursement for their contribution. So there basically becomes, if the board approves, 2 pathways to get advanced degrees. One being this model and one being the traditional, you take classes, we have to sign off and approve, but then we approve and reimburse when you show us your transcript and your proof of payment. Just creates a new avenue to, it's not even really recruit because these are already our people, but to grow and retain people in the system and help them get advanced degrees to hopefully stay even longer. Does that make sense?
So it's great that we have a lot of internal staff that have shown that they want to go this route, and I
They
think
might
that's
wanna go
great.
this
They
route.
might want to go, which is great. How does that look if somebody outside the district comes in? How does that tie in with the union contract, union benefits, unemployment potentially, if it doesn't work out? They just become our employee?
Nobody
Or they-
from the outside would do it.
Okay.
It's only for sitting employees.
Okay.
Just like coursework reimbursement would be. And I would assume if this becomes something that is a longer standing thing, we would likely want to include it in the collective bargaining agreement, but nice of you to join us.
Thank you for waiting. What's that noise?
Sounds like somebody entered the room.
That was practice.
It was very good.
All right, good.
And Heather, I don't know if you mentioned, it is an application.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks, Natalie.
So if we had,
Because,
in theory, we had 6 people who raised their hand and are interested.
Yeah.
Obviously, can't take all of them with $15,000.
correct,
Would we, as a board, decide? You decide?
we would decide based on the applications. And things that we would probably consider would be seniority,
Sure.
would be the quality of the application, would be honestly, how much can we squeeze into the 15? The 15 is not an arbitrary number. Mary and Natalie looked at the budget and fiscally what makes sense to get us started to function within everything that we do. And be conservative at the start of something new. I don't want to have 6 people doing something that hasn't even been tested out yet.
What's the fee to the third party? We know that per staff person?
Was it 4,000?
It's,
4,100.
so the employees, it will pay this contribution to the college
That's
that
41.
Bloom Board is in partnership with. The partner discount, Bloom Board gets the discount because they're kind of the person in the middle, is this middle section that you see, and I don't have, Matt, I need your readers. The discount changes based on the program
And based on the.
and based on the, it doesn't appear that Bloom Board changes based on the grant, only the district contribution.
Under that top one, it was $1,650. The second one, it's
$1,850. But I'm just saying it doesn't
Yeah.
change based on the award of the grant. The grant just makes our contribution smaller.
Gotcha, yeah.
And then when you're looking at this, you can see, for example, on the associates to bachelors, on the far left-hand side of the diagram, different ways that an employee could get access to that 4,400 if they needed it. Yep, see you later.
All that.
So, all good, see you later. Congrats, Raza.
Bye, Rita.
So in the blue section, the district support under that first scenario, 7750, second scenario, 9950.
Correct. Because that's going 0 to a bachelor's degree.
Right. That's what, and that says district support.
Correct. So for example, we aren't allocating enough to have two people take that path.
Right.
So again, it's a conservative start since it's a new program. It's fiscally within what we can do and is what I'm comfortable recommending moving forward as we just try a new way to keep our staff around.
Any other questions? If not, I'd be looking for a motion to approve the alternative licensure / Illinois expansion grant recommendation. Okay, motion by Sarah
I'll second.
and a second by Roger. Please poll the board.
Ms. Fryerson?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Pina?
Yes.
Mr. Borowski?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Grady? Yes. Mr. Bongiovanni?
Yes.
Mr. Bryan?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes.
We'll keep you posted on that as things develop. We'll have an update by the next board meeting. And I see a couple people on the meeting who are giving us thumbs up and cheers, so glad to see you here. We'll be in touch. All right, the next thing on the agenda is a draft of the Board of Education meeting. Actually, we're going to bring this one back in June, Christy, so I don't need action on this. Could you please just check your calendars on these meeting dates? And if any changes need to be made, please let me know so we can bring forward final in June and get the calendar set for the 25-26 year.
We'll just table this then.
Yep, it's just for consideration. Yeah,
Okay.
okay. All right, finance and facilities updates. I think the big item for discussion is approval or at least consideration of our vendor for the health life safety study. Mary, are you ready to talk about that?
Yes, we interviewed a couple of the architects full committee, and basically got an idea of what their services entail and how they go about coming up with the list. And we kind of all settled on white as the favorite of the interviews. They are grants architects as well. They're very responsive in their walkthrough and their proposal to us. So, anybody else have anything to add that's on the call?
Can you run that call, Danny? Anything?
That was the first call we had, right?
Mhm.
Yes, the first.
I like, yeah. No, I thought they were good, they're responsive, they're
Yeah.
educated, clearly.
Yes.
Explanations, I like it.
And their proposal is attached.
I think it's safe to say that financially, they were in the middle of everybody that we looked at. There were some significantly higher. There was one significantly lower that we met with, but I don't believe anybody was comfortable with the approach that that firm planned to take.
Definitely seem the most knowledgeable.
Can we get proposals from, you said we have proposals from all?
We
from
did,
each of them?
we got 4 proposals.
And were all the proposals similar in the fact that there was this safety reference plan that's supposed to be in place and that the charge would be extra for that outside of this? What are we getting for the original contract with them? They do a walkthrough and tell us what we need to update.
Yes, and then they go through, it all has to be approved during the board meeting. They go through and we categorize what face up priority, what needs to be done. And then they have to upload it through state and to IWAS. And then that's the document that defines the priority of the work and then the amount of bonds that have been set. And then they would adjust it, during the year, if there's something that comes up, and it's like, no, we're not doing this, so we know we did it. That's what it is. They make the adjustments to it.
They give us cost estimates as we start and or move along
Sorry, process with that.
different projects that they're saying that we need to have?
Yes, they'll put a number to it. And
Anybody
it's
else?
basically making sure that everything is up to code. And if it's not, then it goes on that list. That's probably it.
And then the board will remember that anything that goes on that list can then impact financially. If you think back to when Tammy Beckwith was here, opened some doors for us financially to pursue funding, non-referendum based, to fix any of the big ticket items that pop from this survey.
We were grandfathered in. Kind of what apply or not, I assume.
Oh, well. Understand.
Yeah.
Seemed like we were getting pushback on that, though.
Well, that was the plumbing thing.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, we touched plumbing, then we were gonna have to pull all of it. Yep.
Anybody else that was on the phone call have anything to add or want to make a motion to approve it?
Harry had all the questions lined up.
But you guys, you will, Danny?
Yes.
Danny's in the book. Have a motion by, who is the second? Second by Ken. Please poll the board.
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Brazen,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mrs. O'Grady,
Yes.
Mr. Mangione,
Yes.
Mr. Rios.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes.
Next in the packet is for the board's consideration, our continuing intergovernmental agreement with Big Hollow to share transportation services. This has been in place for a long time and we use it regularly, so please say yes. I believe it's already signed, signed by their board, so Bob sent it to me for consideration here. Just allows continued partnership and it helps a lot.
Yeah. Motion
I'll
by
make motion.
Roger, second
Second.
by Joe.
One
Please
vote.
poll the board.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Mangione,
Yes.
Mr. Levina,
Yes.
Mr. Brazen,
Yes.
Mrs. O'Grady. Yes. Mr. Rios.
Yes.
Rios.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes.
Mary, any other transportation updates?
No changes this month. We are looking to hire another van driver, that will be effective for next school year. We've got routes we can take back. So that's on the,
Thank you. TIP updates, I will have a more robust update for you in June. Matt and I met with Donnie Schmidt a couple Fridays ago, 2 weeks ago, to gather some documentation, ask some questions, and just have some, I thought, good dialogue about how things have gone down. I also got some great documents from Christy Sepsic for things that I didn't have. So with the board's permission, my plan is to take all of that, crunch it together to make a timeline of events. To be honest, I haven't had time in the last 2 weeks to pull that together. I know it's a priority and I will get it for you in June, just to kind of show what's happened when, all the way back to TIP inception, that we actually do have documentation for when John Donnellan was superintendent. Donnie was able to pull that from his emails. So I will be happy to bring that forward. I don't feel comfortable saying more than that at this point, simply because I haven't had time to review all the documents. So that's just an update for you. Okay, in terms of policy, we sailed through the food service audit. Natalie, thank you for your help with that. Georgette was absolutely amazing in it. That's a 3-year audit. We came through with just little recommendations, and one of them being a review and revision of our school wellness policy. So that's what's here for board consideration. So I'm asking for a first read on policy. Yeah, let's do a first read on this one, because with it then goes a wellness plan that's behind it. So the wellness plan wouldn't be part of board policy, but the policy and the plan we are asked to now feature prominently on the website. Just so any stakeholder who's interested in seeing what wellness in our district looks like has access to the documents. So, hasn't been in place in the past, is now, and that was our finding from the audit, which I'm okay with that.
So the finding was that it wasn't on the website,
Correct,
or the whole board policy's on the website?
That is also correct.
So this is there.
correct, but it's not prominently featured, which
Oh,
was the audit finding.
so it wasn't the wording, because we get these updates all the time.
Wasn't the wording,
Just location, okay.
correct. And so I included the policy here because the plan now is a required component that goes with it. If it isn't policy, but the two of them have to be, say it with me, prominently featured on the website,
How's this gonna look?
prominent,
Yeah, how it's flashing lights?
probably, with a dancing carrot, prominently dancing.
Wait, can we vote on the vegetable?
I'll take a motion for the dancing vegetable. So,
All right,
I will bring that, because it's a policy consideration, we'll do a first read, second read, so we'll put this back on the agenda for June.
so is that even a policy deal? I mean, we already have the policy in place.
As a policy.
We don't need to
I
approve.
have to be able to say that we reviewed the policy and the plan, and then prominently featured it to respond to the audit
So
findings.
we're saying that we reviewed it tonight. We don't have to have a first read because we're not changing it.
What would you like to say?
I think that the board reviewed it, the policy and the other part, the
Plan?
plan. The board reviewed it.
If you want to ask for a motion for approval, you can,
Yeah, because we're not changing anything.
but for the dancing vegetable.
Well, I'll make the motion.
All right, Roger,
We have a motion by Roger and second by Jen.
all in favor.
Yeah, because we're not changing it, so all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None,
Still
motion,
one? Okay.
motion passes. Yes, if there were something new that we were changing, then I think we'd have a first read and second read.
Just put that in the audit notes. Got it, thank you. Prominently in the notes.
Mine is so technical.
Thank you. All right, info items. Future agenda, as I just stated, we'll make sure that that TIF timeline is on the June agenda. FOIAs, Christie?
We had two, one was the things for purchasing records, which Mary just pulled up again, we've done those times. The other one was asking for information related to paint and drywall purchase or land purchases. We
Weird one.
didn't have any, so we said we don't have it. Results.
Thank you. Dates of note, next Wednesday is the 8th grade promotion ceremony. Please let Christy know if you're going to be there. I will assume you two will, for sure. And then June 10th is our next Board of Education meeting. Any other dates that need to be brought to attention other than at your places? Thank you, Christy. The registration for the Joint Annual Conference 2025 opens on June 2nd, so thank you for making the flyer. Information's already posted. Please let her know by May 30th if you plan to attend, and if so, days and nights that you plan to go so we can secure those rooms. We would sure appreciate it. We want to have best choice of places and things, the earlier the better on that. Also at your places, I told you in some of our Friday updates, we were asked to contribute to the Lake County ROE newsletter. We were featured as the Spotted in Lake County Day of Service, so got some great pictures in there, all about the day of service that happened back on Earth Day, April 22nd. So check it out if you didn't get a chance to read it. And with that, I do need a little bit of time with the board in closed session time.
Okay. So I'd be looking for a motion to move to closed session for discussion of confidential employee matters and the superintendent's evaluation.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Dan, I'll second. Second by Roger, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, none, motion passed at, 8:46, 8:47. Hey.
All right, thanks, everybody. Congrats, Chad. Glad to have you.
Chad, speech.
Girl,
Elevator talk. Elevator speech.
Thanks, everybody.
Hey, how are you? Good.
Yeah.